This now, Dr. Darrin Webb, the state economist. Good morning, Dr. Webb, and thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Good to be here.
So, know you've had some rather spirited discussions with the legislature. I shouldn't say spirited, but probably stark is the better word to use, where I think you were expecting less tax revenue, obviously, to the tune of $1.2 billion by mid-2021. Is that the correct figure?
I think that, that's a combination of 2 years is what, that's not, I broke it down into, each year, how much we lose 1 year versus the next. But I think the 2 year total is 1.2.
And that, just to clarify for our listeners, the fiscal year of the state ends June the 30th. So it's a July 1 through June 30 fiscal year. And so this $1.2 billion crosses over both years, correct?
Correct. That's right.
So what's the methodology you use, Dr. Webb, in determining that figure?
Well, it's kind of like sausage. You really don't want to see it in the making. It can get kind of ugly. But what we do is we look at what the national forecasters are saying is going to happen at the national level as far as the economy goes. And what we've got models that relate the national economy to the state's economy. So I look at the national forecasters. I see what they're saying. The experts that have looked at so many different aspects of this virus and the economic impact of that. I see how historically Mississippi has related to the nation. I look at the Mississippi historical trends just within the state itself, and I get an economic forecast for Mississippi. I then take that and I look at how the revenue picture relates to the economy. And so I get some baseline numbers from that, and then I try to take into account the best I can the changes in tax laws or anything in particular that may be happening unusual as far as the revenue streams. And so it is kind of a messy business, but it's a process we've used for the 25 years I've been here anyway.
So just to be clear, I mean, this is an exercise you perform regularly in
Exactly.
providing input to the legislature and I guess the legislative budget office as well, and perhaps other state agencies as well.
Normally what we do is we have a consensus estimating process here in Mississippi. So there's a revenue estimating group. I'm part of that group, and I run my models, and Department of Revenue comes in with what their trends and what they're looking at. Legislative Budget Office is there. The Department of Finance and Administration is there. The State Treasurer's Office is there. And we go item by item. My estimate, I think the legislature wanted sort of a baseline. This is what we think is happening at this point in time, something that they could begin to work with. And then once the final May numbers are in, the revenue estimating group will sit down and actually look at the trends that we have, the more recent trends, particularly the May collections, and they'll come up with we will come up with another estimate, and so that will be presumably presented to the Joint Legislative Budget Committee at some point.
So, do you discuss or convene remotely these days with any of your peers in the other states? Do you I guess derive any?
I talk to them. Yes, definitely do. I'm part of a group of people all over the country that we bounce ideas off, and of course this episode is something nobody has experienced. We've never had a shutdown like this before, and so every state is struggling with trying to estimate the full implications of the shutdown. And then adding to this is, the shift in the revenue tax filing dates. That shifts money from one fiscal year to the next, and how much that impacts, again, is something that every state is struggling with right now. And we're all using similar methodologies and doing the best we can and trying to share, ideas with one another. But yes, definitely we talk to other states.
So I guess the question is, how do we look relative to the other states in terms of revenue shortfalls and economic outlook?
I think we're in the same ballpark as everybody. I think this is something that is affecting everybody equally. Now, obviously, some economies rely on different things than others, and we tend to have a larger government sector than most states. I think that actually gives us a little bit of a buffer to sort of a shock like this, because the government, at least for the most part, particularly at the federal level, is not laying off. I think the state maybe have lost a little bit, and probably at the local level, you're seeing probably the greatest reduction of staff and things like this. But as a general rule, the government tends to be resilient, at least early on in a recession, and I think that's going to be the case this time. So we may have actually a little bit of a buffer compared to a lot of other states on that.
Yeah, and I guess at this point, it's somewhat speculative. Where even in our state, I've had I talked to people from around the state. I've even seen that there are differences in economic activity in various regions of the state, which seems like that would even complicate the estimates even more.
It does. One of the things I was very clear about on Tuesday is that we're basing some of this on some assumptions. Normally, anytime you make a revenue forecast, you're having assumptions, but
sure,
usually your assumptions are you kind of know where they're going. You have a lot of confidence in that. With this situation, new information is coming out all the time, and so your assumptions get changed. One of the things that's kind of interesting, I made my forecast, and I made it basically over the weekend and Monday, I guess, and finished it up on Monday and made the presentation on Tuesday. And that was really before some of the May revenue data was coming in. And I've been looking at the revenue data since then. It's kind of come in toward the end of the month, and May actually looks a little bit better than what we expected. And particularly with regard to sales tax. And we're still down. We're obviously going to be down, but it's not as bad as maybe I was thinking. And that's why it's going to be good for the revenue estimating group to actually meet and come up with another estimate. But the sales tax in the state has done better than I would have thought that it would have. You mentioned a few moments ago about the stimulus checks and people saving those, and that has been the conventional wisdom that people have saved those. It may be in Mississippi, we spent them,
Yeah, you're right.
That the government shows that Walmart and Home Depots and the Lowe's were actually quite busy even in the midst of the shutdown. It may be that people were spending those, and we got a little bit more sales tax than what we were thinking.
And then, of course, you've got unemployment and unemployment benefits that figure into that as well. And exactly. as you know, those benefits are pretty strong right now with the $600 per week federal kicker on top of the state of Mississippi unemployment benefit. But that's coming to an end at the end of July, and we don't know at this point whether or not they will be extended, which would require a law passed by the Congress and signed by the president. That's still unclear at this point.
Right.
And then it's unclear as to how many of those people will be back in the workforce and earning income, and all of that figures into the sausage, as you say, and it's I don't envy you, Dr. Webb. Is this the most complex forecast and projection would you say you've ever had to make?
Definitely. I've been in this office for 25 years, and we've never had anything like this. There's always uncertainties. And even in the midst of recession, there's uncertainty, but there's more uncertainties now. There's more things that we're not sure of, and that's playing a role in it. And the story changes. Every day we get new information. It's the most difficult time ever.
Well, we appreciate your service, sir, and I know it's a difficult task, but it's a very important task as our state leaders try to deal with our budget and guide our state. Thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it. You stay safe, sir.
Thank you.